How do? Welcome back. Well, I'm having a beer. It's Timothy Taylor's Landlord. Oh, it's a beautiful beer. Oh, I wish I could brew a beer like this. For me, it's the quintessential bitter. The quintessential English bitter. Or, to be more precise, a Yorkshire Bitter. It's just beautiful. Oh, nice and sweet. There's a nice sweet biscuity malt. A little bit of caramel. Nice spicy hop. And a little bit of citrusiness as well. That's a classic beer. It's no wonder that this beer, well, they call it a championship bitter, championship beer. This beer has won more awards than any other beer in Britain. First brewed in the 1950s and still going strong. That's probably why it's got most awards, because obviously just longevity. But yeah, it's a cracking pint. Oh, that's nice. So there's not much going on at the moment, but I thought I'd make this quick update. Next week I'm actually doing a brew day. I'm doing for the book the Australian Pale Ale or Sparkling Ale. I'm doing my research on it now. Basically the book's changed format. It's nearly finished actually, but I've changed the format so I could write it quicker. So what I'm now doing is obviously, the start of the book, introducing home brewing, the benefits of home brewing, that's fizzy, the benefits of home brewing, the equipment you need, malt, what is malt, hops and so forth. And then for each beer, and there's going to be about 10 or 12, I'm going to first of all write an introduction to the beer style using the actual official beer styles, the BJCP I think it's called, and also talk about the history and the development of that beer style, because I like history. I don't know if you know, but I really like history, especially antiquities and things like that. But I'm also really interested in British beer style. And what I thought of doing is actually starting each beer will be like its own chapter, and it will start with an introduction to that beer style. So like an English bitter, it will talk about the development of the English bitter and how English bitters actually used to be quite an aspirational drink, the middle class drink, the affluent drink, whereas mild was the poor man's drink. And so I don't know if you know this, but in a traditional English pub there were two sides, and in fact there were two entrances. One went into the saloon, the bar area, the bar area, and it was floorboards, it was wooden tables and chairs and things like this, and that side of the bar served milds because it was for the working class. They would go in with their dirty working clothes after a hard day's work, and they would drink mild before they went home. So it was rough and ready sort of furnishings, because they didn't want to spoil the furnishings because they were wearing the work clothes. On the other side, which usually had a different entrance, there was the saloon, which was carpeted, it was nicely furnished, and people drank bitter because that was for the middle class, that was for the office workers, and so they were dressed nicely, they would be in nice office attire, and so they got the carpet and they got the soft furnishings and the refinery. That's the history of the British pub. So bitter was always seen as this sort of aspirational drink. And it's just really interesting how it developed. I think it was after the Second World War where bitter started to take over from mild, because after the Second World War all these people came home from fighting and they had hopes and aspirations for the future, so they all started drinking bitters to show that, you know, they had a goal in life, an aspiration. And so bitter started to take over from mild, which was then seen as, oh yeah, that's your working class, people with no hope, people with no ambition and so forth. But yeah, it's a really interesting history. And so that's what I was thinking of starting each chapter with. A little bit of an introduction to the actual beer style and the history and how it developed. And there's some really interesting little nuggets for each beer style. So yeah, that's how the book's going to be developed. And I've also got myself a little toy to play with. Well, it's not just me, it's the wife as well, but it's a soda stream. And what I'm going to be doing with this, as well as making fizzy water, is making some hop water. Hops are actually very healthy for you. They're very good. And I've been watching some videos. I think the Brew Dudes have done one, and also Get a Brewed, the YouTube channel. They've done a hop water, and basically you just steep some hops in a litre of water, not too many, about 1 gram, for about 6 hours, cold steep, and then you fizz it up. And what this allows you to do is actually taste the hops, and so you can have a mixture of hops. You know, if you wanted to experiment, how is this going to taste in a beer, you can actually just steep some in some water, stick it in a soda stream, and then you can taste and say, does that combination work well, before you actually try it in a beer, and then just you know, potentially just waste all that brewing time. You can actually just do it first in some water and just see, does that combination of hops work correctly. So that's what I thought of doing. This comes with a 1 litre bottle, but I've actually got 4 more, so I've got about 5 litres, so I can just use different hop combinations in each bottle, and then in future brews I can then say, okay, yeah, I like this and I like this and I like this combination, and then you can use them as a whirlpool hop. Just have a bittering hop and then just add this combination of hops as a whirlpool hop, just to give us some flavour and aroma. So yeah, I'm going to be playing with this week as well, with some hops, and no doubt they'll find their way into one of the brews for the book, because after the Australian pale ale or sparkling ale, I'm going to be doing an American pale ale, and so I want to play with some American hops, and this will help me with that. And then I want to do a New Zealand pale ale as well. So yeah, okay, that's my little plaything. And I'm thinking it'll be great to, if you've ever got a beer that's just not carbonating in the bottle for whatever reason, and it does happen, I'm thinking just get 2 bottles, you know, 500ml, you can fill one of these up and just give it a squirt, and then you've carbonated your beer. If you know, mind you, I don't think my wife would like that, but I'm thinking that would be a good solution. If you know, and sometimes you get bottles and for whatever reason it just doesn't seem to carb. Yeah, just decant 2 into here and just give it a spritz with a button, and you've got carbonated beer. There you go, my entry into kegging systems via SodaStream. Right, well, thanks for watching. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to enjoy this. It's if you have never tried a Timothy Taylor's, definitely pick one up. If you're in another country, See if there's anywhere that sells it online in your country, and try it, because it is a cracking pint. Like I say, it's the most. It's won more championships than any other beer in Britain, and justifiably so, because I think this is just the quintessential English bitter. Oh, I'll have to look for a clone recipe, won't I? Oh, that'll be nice. Right, cheers, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye bye for now.